resource solicitation. Let us now move on and talk about resource solicitation. By the end of our discussion, you should be able to design instruments for communicating with sponsors, be in position to engage sponsors for funding, and prospect for sponsors. We are starting by defining resource solicitation. Resource solicitation is the act of searching and requesting for something of benefit to your cause, for example, money, machine, and labor. This will start with identification of the resource gap as per your funding requirement. Then, you can engage the resource owner or the donors. Donor engagement starts with designing a strategy to communicate with the donors or financiers. Having a clear target in mind of how much you need to raise, by when and from which sources. Identification of funding need is achieved by developing a statement of funding need. Consideration for constructing statement of funding needs are A. Realistic review of current resource situation, B. Target amount, and C. Timeline needs or timeline statement. The statement has the following: activity, resources required, available resources, funding needs, resource providers, and timelines. For one to get the potential donor, he needs to do prospecting. Prospecting is the strategy used to identify and reach potential donors. Here, we can use what we call strategy mix. Strategy mix is a combination of donor targeting and activity planning to increase the attractiveness of the venture to owners of resources. Strategies. There are two strategies of getting donors. These are acquisition strategies and nurturing strategies. Acquisition strategy is used in bringing the new funders on board by creating awareness about the cause of your organization. For that to succeed, the organization should be clear and well articulated to convince the donor. These include mailing brochures or materials to those in outer rings of donor map, to attend your events, or simply going to see them. Nurturing or cultivating strategy. This is used for the organization that you have been interacting in activity and to some point you have ever received funds from. In this strategy, you need to maintain the relationship by participation in grant competitions, visiting or inviting them to your organization and informing them of your progress. Communicating with the funders. The organization needs to communicate effectively in order to win the donor. For effective communication to take place, you need to develop a statement of funding need, that is, a case statement, which will entail the following issues. Need, evidence that this is a pressing need, organization uniqueness that qualify it to address this need, negative impacts for failing to address the need, and lastly, benefits of the action. Please note, the case statement should be well understood and can be verbalized by everyone in the organization when they meet prospective funders. Meeting the prospective funders. When you have been invited to meet a donor face-to-face, there are activities that should be done. These activities are grouped into activities before, activities during, and activities after. Before meeting the donor, you are supposed to do the following. 1. Research on name, position, and area of responsibility of the person or team to meet. 2. Pack relevant supporting materials, for example, business cards, extra copy or proposal that you sent. 3. If you are going as a team, choose a spokesperson. And lastly, practice what you are going to present. During the meeting with the donor, present your business card immediately after your introduction. State the purpose of your visit clearly. Introduce team members by their names and position. Propose how funders can support your cause. Listen actively to what the donor says. Ask for some time if the donor asks you to do something outside your area of interest. Near the close of the meeting, go through material you brought and highlight key issues for donor familiarity. And lastly, if invited for refreshment, join, as this is a time that you can interact more. After the meeting, appreciate the donor for the time verbally. Write an appreciation email the following day. Follow up after a week or appropriate time as informed by the donor. And lastly, do not put them on your mailing list immediately unless they request. Let me hope you are now ready to do what is required for you to get the finances for your agribusiness venture. Do not sit and say, "I have no capital for my business." Please wake up and start doing the necessary. Thanks.